everyone.
Hello.
This is another episode of GameQ. Today we're talking about...
Untitled Goose Game.
Our mics are on this time.
Cool. It's true.
I am your host, 1, Jason.
I am your host, 0, Wesley.
Oh, what happened to 1 and 1 prime?
It was A last time.
That's true. If you're new to the show, we kind of just do, we're just two husbands-to-be here, talking about games as we finish them. This is, nice little indie game that we just kind of finished on, I guess, New Year's Day.
Yes.
This might be a bit before this releases, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll kind of do a rough overview of the game, give a little bit of a review and our personal scores, then dive into a deeper spoilerful discussion.
Yeah, which we'll warn you about.
Yes, we'll warn you about the spoilers, so once you get to that, stop listening, or keep listening if you've already played it, or jump there if you've already played it, or...
Yeah, listen to us if you've already played it.
Just listen.
But yeah, if you don't care about spoilers, you can also listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, it is a action stealth game in which you play as this goose. This untitled goose, as it were.
Is action stealth appropriate? Yeah, I'd call it stealth puzzle, or stealth puzzle adventure.
I mean, there is action. But yeah. Yeah, it is
stealth puzzle adventure.
It is stealth puzzle. Yeah, I guess it's almost an adventure game too.
Yeah,
it's a lot of things. Primarily it's goose.
It's a bit of a weird game to define, I guess, but
yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I would compare it to, I suppose.
It is kind of like Metal Gear Solid without the stakes. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, so it's a low-stakes stealth game in which you are a goose.
Yeah.
In any case, you will spend your time trying to do a list of various things around town that are mostly harassing the townspeople in interesting, creative ways. So you might, lock a gardener out of his garden, trick somebody into accidentally, cutting their neighbor's rose off his bush, getting delivery person to fall in a pile of tomatoes, or all kinds of fun things that a horrible goose would do.
Yeah, and your controls are pretty simple. You kind of have, well, actually, they're a little more complex than I thought they were going to be. You have you have raise and lower head.
Yeah.
You have honk, which kind of startles people or attracts
or gives their attention. Yeah. You have grab.
You have grab and release.
Yeah. And you also have raise your wings, even though it doesn't have any gameplay value. It's just cute.
I think it changes your hitbox, but other than that, it's kind of this weird sort of physicsy experience.
It's true, because you are kind of controlling multiple strings at the same time, it feels like.
Yeah, you get dropped off in a lake, basically, and the sort of first challenge that you get presented with is the garden. And you're basically given a list of a to-do list of tasks, things to do, and you're kind of just sort of set free to do them in whatever order you want. And then once you finish the tasks for an area, you kind of move on to the next area.
It's kind of I was thinking like a Tony Hawk style progression.
I haven't actually played that many Tony Hawks.
Yeah, Tony Hawk's actually surprisingly like this, where it's a list of things, and once you've done enough of the things, you can unlock.
Yeah, I guess you only need to do 4 of the 5 things, and you get a task that opens up the next area.
Yeah,
and you can
there's a little bit of leeway if there's something you can't figure out, for instance.
Yeah, but nothing's ever too hard. It's a lot of fun. It's a very emergent sort of gameplay system. The AI just kind of walks around and does things while you interact and mess with them.
Yeah, everyone's got the thing they're going to do. The shopkeeper will tend to her shop, and the gardener will garden until you show up and start ruining things.
Yeah, you just start fucking with people's lives. And, the AI is kind of dumb in that kind of gamey.
Sure, in that Metal Gear Solid sense.
Yeah, they'll fall for the same things multiple times. Right. They're not very.
You honk to get someone's attention, you jump in a box, and they'll go over to the box and be like, "Did that box just honk?" And I'm well, never mind.
Once again, I forgot to update the Twitch description.
So it's a little funny. But that is kind of like what you expect from AIs and this kind of stealth games.
Yeah, it doesn't detract or anything. It's just funny and silly.
And there's no like game over, so I'll just say it's kind of low stakes. Basically, people see you, they'll start trying to just chase you away, and you might have to then go back and do something again. But yeah, no game over is no one is shooting goose.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the high level. You just sort of it's like half toy box, half sandbox, sort of open world. But
it is
really.
Kind of like open world.
You're kind of unlocking areas of the world at a time.
Yeah, it's a Metroidvania.
But as far as like the game itself goes, I feel like it's actually pretty magical. Like the first time you like hold the controller and
move Goose around
and start moving Goose, and
you can have a lot of fun just moving Goose.
Yeah, it's
the animations for the Goose are exceptionally good.
I don't know if they might be procedural. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
some parts are procedural, like the head, I guess, or
but like they very much captured the spirit of Goose extremely well.
You really feel like you're just this annoying terror that's like oddly proud of itself
and like adorable. Like you'll go and you'll harass someone and then stand there and be like, "I'm a goose.
I'm just a goose." When you open your wings, you feel very menacing to everyone.
Yes,
I've
like
revealed my portal into Goose World.
California portal. You can like change. You can walk slowly, which doesn't even need to do a lot of the time. But you can,
not really.
If you walk slowly, put your head down, then you're just like look like you're creeping forward, very like hope no one sees me. Then if someone notices you, can feel like.
Yeah, it's this weird experience, especially if you're playing with somebody next to you. So we played this one together.
Yeah.
A lot of the games on GameCube will probably play together or at the same time.
Some might do solo, but we'll see.
Yeah. But for this one, we actually played together and just traded controllers between missions, basically, or between like areas.
Yeah.
And yeah, we both, I think, got into like role playing the Goose.
Yes.
Which is a little
make the person laugh by like what you do with the Goose.
Yeah, just make yourself laugh. I was just making myself laugh by doing stuff. Honking at the right time, and I started doing the like teabagging people by lowering your head multiple times.
And you get somewhere where you try to steal something, someone notices you, you just kind of stare at them for a while.
And then honk. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's weirdly just funny.
It was very delightful.
Yeah, I'm surprised how like good it felt.
Yeah, and I'm glad it was like as good as I wanted it to be when it first got announced. I was like, this game looks amazing, and I definitely want it. And it's like all the things I wanted.
Yeah, it's one of those weird cases of like you watch the trailer and you're like, oh man, I hope this is going to be a lot of fun, and you get it, and it's like, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like
that was exactly the experience I was hoping it was going to be. It is like relatively short, so it's kind of limited. I
think what we will call the main story is maybe like 2 hours tops or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
Something like that.
Yeah, I guess we spent like half the time just doing the kind of first run through, and then the other half of the time doing the kind of post game checklists.
Yeah.
And it was delightful.
It just gives you a lot of different ways to annoy people in town. And a lot of like very cute situations to get yourself into.
And if you're worried about like if you played adventure games before and you're kind of like worried about adventure games often have this problem of like, I don't know what I was supposed to do here.
Oh sure. Yeah.
You don't really run into that a lot.
No, I think it's all pretty forgiving. There's like one thing that we're annoyed by.
Yeah, there was I think exactly one puzzle that we didn't understand.
Even though it should have been it should have worked the way we thought it did, but it just didn't, which was bizarre.
It was a very strange choice by them.
But otherwise, like everything was fine.
Because it's one of the few puzzles that only has one solution.
I guess in a sense.
I mean, I guess a lot of the puzzles actually have just one solution,
but a lot do have sort of multiple.
It felt like you usually sort of stumble into the right answer most of the time.
And you do have choice in
you kind of figure it out, and
or at least you have choice in like how to execute what you're trying to do. So like, how am I going to make the shopkeeper like not chase me out or something?
Right. Yeah, you actually have some options, and the sort of any of the puzzles that sort of more involve the physics, you can kind of play around with more and do more things to try and get it to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for the most part, yeah, everything felt like you were able to sort of do it and clear it and get through it.
Yeah, nothing is like too tricksy, especially in the main game half.
Yeah, the post game is pretty fun too. There's like some interesting stuff to do there as you kind of like explore. Now that you get kind of the whole map open up to you at that point, and you kind of get to do a little bit more and
that's the things that are a little trickier than in the like original content.
Yeah.
There are certainly some like more skill challenges.
Yeah, in particular, there's the time trials. And that's actually, I would say, is like a little bit of a miss for me.
Yeah, I agree.
In that the game, I feel like Untitled Goose Game is sort of at its best when you're just kind of like experiencing it and like
not under any pressure.
Yeah, not under a lot of pressure, and the time trials are very constrained. Like you don't get a lot of time to do them at all.
They're hard, and the controls aren't like so tight like an action game that you
they're built the time trials are built like you've got kind of like
system mastery of Goose,
like a really strong control scheme, and the control scheme does exactly what it should be doing as a goose. Like you feel kind of lumbering, you feel like
you can't like turn on a dime like when
if somebody chases you do kind of just like flap around and cause a mess and are just kind of in the way and can't really maneuver perfectly.
Yeah,
so it feels weird to have like a precision.
Yeah, so Goose is not a precision animal to do time trials with.
So that's like that's basically the thing we didn't end up finishing was
we tried a bit more like that.
We tried a little bit. It felt too like some of the things you had to do in the time trials it seems like it just requires luck,
or at least like
you have to you'd have to do a lot of planning.
Yes. So you can't just figure out things fast. You have to also like sort of stack them in the right order.
You have to do the things in the right order fast enough and hope that you didn't like time something improperly, or you have to hope that somebody doesn't look a certain way, because the AI is still acting as AI randomly, and I don't know, this trip through the gardener might walk into you.
And it's not
completely fuck up your run, and you have to start.
The system's just not built for this kind of precision.
So it felt like that was the thing to me that felt like we wanted to add something kind of gamey. Oh, hey, what if we do time trials? Or what if we do like a kind of speed mode? But it didn't come together. That part didn't come together, and it didn't feel as strong as it could be.
You don't have the charm.
So like if they just loosen the time constraints on it, like double the time allowed or something, like it'd be okay. But it's the fact that they like shortened it to like you have to do it perfectly. Those are like mischief makers levels of like, this isn't a fucking treasure game like Gunstar Heroes shit. Like I don't have the precision controls, so don't make me do precision things. That's like my only downside in the entire game is like
I think so.
I thought it was a good game, good amount of content, like basically the perfect amount of like time played.
Sure.
I enjoyed it.
I would certainly take more because it's great.
I would take more. I just don't know what you would do with it.
Sure.
It felt like there's some games where you finish and you're like, I wish there was so much more. Like this, you didn't do nearly enough. There's games where you finish and you're like, oh my fucking god, thank God I'm done.
See our review of it or something.
Yeah. This game felt like we were done. We're like, it was good. That was a solid amount of like time filled. I'm just gonna do my review now.
Yep.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, shoot.
Yeah.
Must play.
I think we'll both give this our 4 out of 4. It is. I mean, it's very unique. No other game do you get to be such a goose. It is super charming and delightful. the animations are for the goose are just like perfect for what they need to be, to get like all the personality that you would get out of this goose.
Yeah, I have a hard time imagining a person who wouldn't have fun with this game.
True. Yeah.
Unless you've just got like a coal black heart.
Yeah. If you're like, oh, the controls are too loose, I can't do my stealth or something, like that's not really what the game's about.
Yeah, there's like no pressure to do that unless you're playing some... maybe, so we play this on Switch, where there's no a global achievement system.
Oh, sure.
So maybe if you were playing on a system with achievements, you might feel like, oh no, I didn't complete the time trials, I'm gonna die. I wanted to platinum this game.
Platinum Goose.
Then yeah, maybe you'll have some tough times with it.
Yeah. But that's Sony's fault. That's like not the game's fault.
Well, I mean that's achievement culture's fault.
I guess other platforms have.
Yeah, PC.
Other
PC has it too.
platforms are available.
I think it's on PC. I think it's on a bunch of stuff. I think it was just Switch first, maybe.
Sure. Yes, achievement culture hashtag.
But yeah, I have a hard time not suggesting this to anybody. Like it's just it's so unique and fun and whimsical, and it's one of the most whimsical games I've ever played. It's just delightful. You just want to like fuck around. Oh yeah, you should make your mom play
That'd probably be funny.
Yeah, I think it would be. But I think it's actually it's not terrible. It's not super hard to play. She might have trouble with the control stick.
If you're a non-gamer, some of the bits that require like a little more action, you might find frustrating, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of true for most games for like non-gamers.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good.
I'd like to watch her try.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, we should do that. We should make her do that next time. Yeah, she might like it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, so I think that's probably pretty good for our spoiler-free reviewy bit.
Don't have too much for spoiler-full discussion, but probably a little bit.
Yeah, well, we can talk a little bit about sort of how the missions lay out and what our favorite bits, but
it's true.
So yeah, it's kind of our overview. So let's start the detailed discussion.
So yeah, so we're just gonna start with our one annoying thing. At one point, you need to just make this guy fall on his butt by stealing his stool out from under him, and it seems incredibly obvious that the way you would do this is by grabbing his stool right as he's about to sit down, because of course then he's gonna fall. But bizarrely, the real solution is to pull it out right when he
turns around.
Yeah, right when he's about to go sitting down. And if you do it too late, he catches you. If you do it too early, he doesn't bother turning around to find you, which just seems very backwards.
It's like, it's the one situation of the game where you're like, where like the like kind of really natural feeling solution is like explicitly coded out to be wrong.
Right. And so, like, Jason's
the correct
trying
solution
it, like, 8 times.
Doesn't quite make sense.
And you're like, wow, this timing is really tight. Because, like, if you do it too late, he just sits down. And if you do it too early, it's like, he seems to look at us. So what are we missing?
Okay.
And you try it, like, 8 times or something, right? And I'm like, this doesn't make we're missing something, because none of the other timing in this game is nearly this tight. Like, it's all fairly forgiving. It's like, something's wrong. And I just accidentally did it too early, which worked. And I was like, because I didn't know the timing yet. Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yeah, it wasn't until the post-game where we had to, like, look it up. This is the only thing we had to look up
because we had to do it again for the time trials. We're like, okay, wait, how are you supposed to actually do this? Because we couldn't, like, get it to work again.
So yeah, that one just felt like a weird... I don't know why they chose to do it that way. It just seemed... Yeah, it felt like it should have been the other way around, where if you did it too early, because he like has this animation where he turns back and looks at you. Mm-hmm. So for a while, when you fail to do it after like trying to pull it out at the last second, you keep thinking like, is this like tighter than I'm thinking? Like, do I really need to pull it like right as he's about to sit?
And unfortunately, the more you narrow in on what you think is a tight timing window, then you're just more likely to
so you just kind of give up and like look around and try and find some other way to distract him as he's about to sit, or I don't know. That was just weird.
That was odd. Nothing else had that issue. It was just one weird random miss.
Yeah, what do you any favorite bits? So that's like our least favorite part of the game.
Sure, just this moment.
The time trials, yeah, just tried a little bit. I can see how they could be fun for some people. As long as you're willing to sort of...
Yeah, I'm sure they're there for a very particular kind of person that, wants the hard mode. Like, the game was too easy, where's my hard mode? Which I think is kind of missing the point of the game. But...
Yeah, I feel like the game doesn't need it, and if those weren't there, it would just be fine. So I guess it gives something to people who are just, like, gonna want to play it forever. Yeah, there's people like that.
Yeah, sure, I guess so.
It's not a bad thing. Go ahead, more power to you.
Do you?
So I wouldn't... I would have cut it if it was me, but...
Yeah, it's fine.
Their game.
I do quite like the two gardens sequence. Just having the
the two neighbors,
Mr. and Mrs. Garden.
Yes.
There's two adjacent gardens. You're kind of getting the two of them to interact with each other, and like they're blaming each other for stuff. Like, why is your stuff constantly getting in my yard when, unbeknownst to them, it is just Goose hiding it or throwing it over the fence. Actually, and that's actually probably one of my favorite points is the pretending to be the goose statue.
Yes.
Where your goal is just to get a ribbon, or like get a ribbon tied around you, like dress up with a ribbon. And there's this statue of a goose that has a ribbon on it, and you need to like go hide the ribbon somewhere, like pull the ribbon off, hide the statue somewhere, make sure the woman notices the ribbon. But by that point, you need to be just standing on this platform, like super still, pretending to be this goose statue. And she comes over. And, ties ribbon around it. As soon as you have it, you can just, like, honk and run away.
My favorite part was actually, so when you first leave that area, you, like, lose the ribbon, because the ribbon gets caught in the bush. My favorite part was going back and getting the ribbon and escaping with the ribbon on.
Right.
By leaving a different way. And then just having the ribbon for the rest of the game.
Right.
And that was just, I don't know, it was just really...
And I was like, there should be, like, an award for this. And then later you actually get that in the post game. There's like, go do this other task while wearing the ribbon.
Yeah.
Like, nice. That's what I want.
Yeah, it was just so...
No. Yeah.
Like that's like my favorite thing. I really like the ending sequence.
Yes.
That came together nicely. You get the, like, model of the town that you've been through. So it kind of
brings everything together.
Brings everything together, and then you have to kind of run back through all of the spaces in kind of a mega run. And escaping with the bell.
Yes.
And as soon as we saw the bell, we were like, are we taking the bell back to our bell?
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, you might miss that you have this big pile of bells. It's like, Goose has been...
I don't think you can miss it.
Yeah, you just go up and set it down.
Well, I mean, no, you start looking at this pile of bells. Yes. You start right beside the bells. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. I feel like you can miss it, but maybe that's not true.
No, I think you see it right away.
Okay, that is good.
But it's just a bunch of broken bells. You're like, that's weird. Which
really tells you a lot about, like, this goose has been terrorizing this town for quite a while.
An infinite amount of time.
Yes, which explains why everyone seems to have their no goose signs ready. They're like, that's weird. How does everyone, like, instantly everyone always has this, like, they're like no goose signs they put up once they've been harassed by you enough. But it's like, I see. Yeah, it's not our first run through this town. These people are prepared.
Yeah, it's not until the end that you get this kind of it all comes together.
And you do get your like Godzilla moment in the model town. Where you
so you're just like
rip up all the town and throw the people around and just like stomp through the town. So that's
I almost wish there was like a Katamari moment where you actually got to do that to the real people. That'd be pretty funny.
I would play
DLC, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Katamari
Give me the DLC. Yeah, I don't know. Just everything was... Yeah. It all just came together super well. It was cute. It was adorable.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanics just all felt right. I don't know. It's a good example of a game that has really good game feel, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious to know, like, what was the story behind this game? Like,
sure, like who first had the prototype?
Yeah, did somebody first make a prototype of this goose? And
was somebody attacked by a goose as a child? It seems like this game comes from, a place of trauma, so...
It is a hard sort of game to make, I think, because I'm guessing, and I'm very much could be wrong, I'm guessing that somebody started with, I want to make I want to like play around with the mechanics of being a bird or like a goose. And you start with that, and you kind of build this, and you kind of have like grabbing stuff and moving things around. But then you're like, what on earth do I do with this?
Right.
And maybe you make like maybe you start to build out a sandbox and you're like not really sure how to put it together. And then you kind of eventually figure out like, oh, it's kind of fun when you like do specific things in the world rather than just it being a sandbox. So I'm assuming they kind of worked through that and like eventually found like, okay, well maybe we'll like string it together as like a story of you going through this town and getting the bell at the end and coming back through. And maybe we can string the areas together by having the task list. It's just an interesting sort of process to go through to get to this game.
Yeah, it'd be fun to hear the dev talk.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that if they ever do one. They might have already done one. I don't know.
Yeah, email us.
Yeah, it's the sort of game like I've tried to make games kind of like that. Like you've seen my bird game prototype.
Yeah,
you get to a point where you're like, yeah, the mechanics are fun and neat, but what do I do?
Right.
And you kind of like struggle with like how gamey you want it to be, and they really got the like perfect. It's great that you're a goose, and it's great that they've got this kind of stealth thing going on.
Yes.
That ties it together in this way that like. I don't know, it just feels like they've maybe tripped or stumbled into this like perfect scenario and showed it off and everybody went wild.
Yes, a lot of hype for Goose.
Yeah, but I think it's well deserved. I think it's actually all fits very appropriately.
It was very good. And because we did it at the end of the year, then I was doing my year in review, and I did mark this as my indie game of the year. Played on the very last day of the year.
Yeah, whoops.
Like, oh, we gotta play it. Yeah, because it was just
Fire Emblem did take up a lot of time.
And
we were trying to rush through Fire Emblem so that we could get to Goose before the end of the year. So we were certainly hyped for it, and it all ended up hype paid off, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if the hype actually is what made them delay the release a bit.
Yeah, I wonder.
Maybe because they saw how popular it was, they wanted to do like another polishing patch.
Well, did they even have a release date? Did they have a release and then they pushed it?
It might have been like a vague one, like summer.
Okay.
Then moved to like winter.
I could certainly see that because, yeah, I wonder if maybe they had a more sandboxy thing at first, and then decided to sort of push it in more zoned areas.
Because they didn't show much. Yeah, they just sort of showed like Goose walking around the gardening area, and that's about it. So.
Right. Yeah, it seems like the sort of thing that you might have just like kind of a vague idea for, and like maybe it could just be the garden. Like I could imagine a version of this that was just the garden.
Sure. Yeah.
And or just the areas, but with like no actual checklist or anything. I can imagine a lot of versions of this game that they probably ran through before they got to what it ended up being.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they got where they got.
Yes.
No, it seems like a game dev journey that. You end up, you don't know where you're gonna end up, and the place you ended up being actually kind of good, really good. I think that's probably enough to call it clear.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, clear. Yeah, I don't know if anything else to
shoot for us.
All right, that's it for this episode of GameQ. Hope you've enjoyed. We'll try to keep releasing these as we come across them. I think next is probably going to be Slinar Wall Parts. So